Hey, I hope you're having a good day, cause this day we're making a song only using sounds from that game. But before we do that, I'm gonna make some rules. Rule number 1, it has to be a full-length song. I'm not here to make a 20-second TikTok sound. Rule number 2, stay in the middle of the trail. Rule number 3, no using gun sounds. Rule number 4, it has to have like at least 10 tracks. And rule number 5, every sound has to come from my recording of the game. Because before we make the song, we have to get the sounds. So I guess now we just dive in. Ignore that. I'm gonna be looking for a whole bunch of drums, whole bunch of cymbals, a bass guitar, a plucky lead or two, a whoosh. Guess it wasn't that hard to find. Let's find some more. I hate this. I was not off to a good start, already contemplating not pulling my parachute, but I knew I had to get some sounds. I landed in the wall of a house, and then burst through the doors, eager to find some sounds. Hey, is there another person here? That's not cool. Yes, there was another person here, and no, it was not cool. Got him. I got him so good, guys. Then, after all the dweebzoids in my area were gone, I got to start looking for some sounds to use. I have no idea what that is, but I love that sound. That was a game, and I actually played 3 rounds of it, but literally every sound in that game was just this damn metal clank. Anyways, now we actually get to start working on the song. First, I quickly sifted through the recordings to find the sounds that I wanted to use. That took 3 hours. Then I created a new project in my DAW and loaded all of the sounds into it. After that, I went through my list of instruments and chose which ones I wanted to make first. I chose to make the drum kit first because drums don't have to be a perfect note. But remember, Fortnite's pretty gun shooty shooty win gritty cringe, and rule 2 says that I can't use any gun sounds. So I had to look for something else to use. I spent hours upon hours searching for the perfect drum sound to use, but couldn't find anything. So I decided to just try out what a gun would sound like, and oh, that's for sure a tom. Maybe it's not breaking a rule. Maybe it's bending a rule. So I decided to use the gun. But funny enough, for this drum, I used the sound of a zipline. I then loaded in my sampler and loaded the zipline sound into the sampler. From here, I just started cutting the sample off a bunch, and then I added this cool plugin to just make it punchier. Then finally, I added an EQ to make its overall sound a bit more kick drummy. Then I used that same sound for the snare, but turned it into this. I turned skydiving into a hi-hat, more skydiving into a cymbal, and another gunshot into another tom. So with that, here's an example drum beat. Don't worry, this is just an example. Anyways, I found this clicking sound and turned it into this little beep. Then I turned the bus horn into something, but I never ended up using it. Then I got this sound, which I don't know what it is, but it sounds like a child crying, so I used it. I imported that sound into this free synthesizer called Vital. Some call this cheating, I call it bending a rule, so shut up, sounds awesome. I then found this weird sound, looped it, and made this. And then I made a second version of it, just in case. I then made another synth in Vital, and it sounds beautiful. Then I used another zipline sound to make this. Ignore that. Now we've got a few instruments, we can finally start on the melody. I started with bass guitar and I just went in placing little notes. I quickly started figuring it out and came up with this. I kinda like this, so next I made the drums. I started with a simple hi-hat and a kick drum, and then I deleted everything because I didn't like it. Instead, I made this. It started off as just bass guitar, of course, but then I added some simple drums. was kind of liking this, so I put it to the side because it felt more like a bridge to me. But I didn't want a bridge, I wanted a chorus. So I made this piano thing to work as like one of the main instruments, but it's kind of hard to make a virtual piano, so it sounds kind of like an organ. Anyways, I started messing around with a realistic piano to try and find the chorus, and it worked. Chorus, bam, and pre-chorus. Bam. As you can see, I was pretty excited to have found the chorus, and that's because usually when I find the main part, the rest just flows, and as you're about to see, that's what happened. Yeah? Ooh, brownie time, bye. Guys, I promise I was about to be super productive, but like, they called me to go bake brownies, and like, you're stupid, you don't understand. I couldn't say no to that. The brownies were really good, but now it's productivity o'clock. I quickly and off camera added some more instruments to the bridge, and it's sounding really good. When I say off camera, I mean I forgot to press record. This is still made entirely out of Fortnite sounds, and while I am proud of it, it's still just a bridge and a pre-chorus. Never mind, I made a chorus. Then here's the drums and bass. Okay, we've got a pre-chorus, a chorus, and a bridge. Now we've got to add the verse and then add more instruments. Let's do that. What you just saw was a time-lapse of me making more instruments, making a second part to the chorus, and making a verse. Can you see my eyes? Forget about my eyes, let's add more to the verse. So this is what I came up with. This is a pretty simple song, but apparently the solution was just bass guitar. So my plan was to add a bunch of other instruments, but to make a bunch of them muffled. I think it sounds pretty cool. Here's some drums I came up with for the verse. I didn't mind what the drums sounded like, but I wanted fast hi-hat. I know you haven't seen much of it, but at this point the verse was almost done. The verse consists of bass guitar, synths, and drums. That's it. No doubt I'll be adding more, but it sounds pretty full with just these. So I duplicated the drums to the other verse and started working on other things. I neatened up my work environment, and then remember that other part of the chorus I was talking about? I added drums to that. Then I added bass. And then it leads back to this chorus. Anyways, I turned organ Fortnite piano into weird strings, added in some new instruments, which I'll save as a surprise for later. Oh, I also made this cute little sound that I forgot to talk about. Then I tried to make the Fortnite bus horn work as an instrument, but it wasn't working. Anyways, time to add some effects. I made an effects channel, made it green, and then called it the effects channel. Then I added a filter to it. With a filter, you can cut off either the low or the high frequencies, like what's happening to my voice right now. Doing this allows me to muffle a bunch of the instruments, like I was talking about earlier. But to do that, I have to automate the filter. Automation is similar to CapCut keyframes. If you want something to happen in your song, but you don't want to manually have to press a button, then you can use automation and it'll basically remember what button to press and when. I added the automation to the filter so that it would only apply during the verse, and then I added these little spikes where the filter would clear for a little bit. I automated some reverb around the pre-chorus, then I automated the hi-hats panning, and if you're wearing headphones, then you now understand panning, but for those that aren't, you know how in songs some instruments come from one side of the headphones and some come from the other? That's panning. Anyways, I did that to the hi-hat, and that's it, probably. Anyways, now it's mixing time. Mixing is basically making the quality better and making it sound good on all devices. So let's get mixing! Okay, I'm gonna skim through this as fast as possible because I bet it's super boring to watch. Montage time! Well, that took a few hours. So I guess the next and final step is to master it. And done. That was easy. Now I have to go through the slightly painful process of saving it, listening to it, adjusting it, saving it, listening to it, adjusting it, saving it, listening to it, adjusting it, saving it, and listening to it. Then finally, I'll be happy with it. Then the next day, I'll listen to it, adjust it again, and then save it again. Is this the best song in the world? No. Is this a song made entirely out of Fortnite sounds? Yes. So without further ado, here's what I call gun gun shooty shooty win gritty cringe. If you want to hear that song and more, you can go check out my SoundCloud or YouTube Music. And feel free to comment what I should try making a song out of next. Anyways, this video wouldn't be possible without being alive, so cheers to that. My name's Dylan Gregor, and I hope to see you next time.